Let's see. Let's go back to desktop. Right. So here, of course, Soviet battleships. Tier 3 to 7. The first one, Knyaz Suvorov. Suvorov? Hit points 38k, plating 16mm, 10 guns now. You can shoot. Can you shoot the full? Yeah, you can. I think you can shoot the full broadside with 10 guns. It's gonna be awkward with these turrets, though. It's gonna be super awkward with these turrets. But you should be able to shoot the full 10 gun broadside. What's the reload? 32. That's pretty long. Really good range, though. 14.6 is super good range for tier 3. 1.7 Sigma at low tier, probably pretty good. This might be pretty scary. Surface detectability 11.7. Speed 22. At least this one is slow. I looked at the other ones and they did not seem particularly slow. Damage control and repair. The 180-degree turn time is of course brutal, but if it's supposed to be a dreadnought, it's kind of expected. But I mean, I look at this and then I look at something like Kavachi and South Carolina. We'll see if it's gonna be Nassau Volume 2. Nassau was insane when it came out. It was like straight up just insane when that thing came out. Gangut, Tier 4. 40.5k, 90mm plating. Holy shit, 4x3, 305. That's kind of scary. That is kind of scary. Holy shit, isn't that like a Nikolai? Is it the same class of ship? Is it the same class of ship as the Nikolai? Gangut is literally a pre-model. It's literally a pre-model October Revolution. Really? Nikolai is an improved version. Fair enough. It's probably gonna be scary, because it has the same issue that Nikolai has, which makes it so rough, and that's no superstructure to spam. And low tier, everyone spams HE, and if it's got that dreadnought armor all over the place, it's gonna be really rough to deal with. 32-second reload, huge broadside of course, good range, 1.7 Sigma again. 23 knots of speed. Once again, for low tier, that's not too bad. Turning circle tight, rudder shift time is good. Surface detectability is really good, because that's without camo, isn't it? I imagine seal clubbing ship on this, 10% plus camo is 3%. That's gonna be a scary seal clubber. My god, that's gonna be a scary seal clubber. AP velocity, I've been surprised by how slow the shells have been, because so far this thing with all Soviet type ships, both cruisers and DDs, has been very fast shell velocity. But here we're actually seeing very slow, but we don't know what the air drag values are, so they could have really little air drag and just maintain their speed throughout the flight path, which would make it very powerful. Remains to be seen. Pyotr Velikiy, Tier 5. Hit points 51.1, plating 19, only 4x2 guns, 16.7 km range. Pretty good HE fire chance, not reload 30 seconds, 180 degree, pretty good this. Once again, very slow AP velocity. Maximum speed, 30 knots. Jesus, are you serious? That's really fast. That is really fast. In comparison, the Texas does, I think, 20.5. I think the New York does 21. The rest of them are like around 22, 23. I think Julius Caesar is 27, and the one exception is the Congo, which is honestly more of a battle cruiser, and that one also does 30. But like average speeds around tier 5 are usually around 23-ish. So doing 30 knots is insanely fast. It's got decent surface detect as well. So this big issue is going to be the lack of guns now. That's going to be the big issue. But really fast ship. Really fast ship for tier 5. Gunpowder is going to be, I think, the main issue. But if you got good enough concealment, you can probably work around it. And having to deal with high tiers might not be as much of an issue. Ismail, tier 6. 55.9k health, plating 25mm, main battery 4x3. 4x3, that's 12 guns. That is a weird goddamn design. That is a weird goddamn design, to say the least. Maybe I should move like chat up here. Move chat up here. Less in the way. That is a weird looking design. That's only one gun you can shoot straight forward though. Like nose in, this thing only shoots one gun, but full broadside? Depends on the firing angles. I think this one will depend a lot. The speed is great, again 28 knots. This AP velocity is surprisingly slow, or Sigma is decent. Rudder shift is good. It reminds me of a Fuso. The difference is, of course, or in New Mexico, the difference with the Fuso in New Mexico that also has 12 guns is those have 1.5 Sigma. This thing has 1.7. That's an easily tweakable value. This is, of course, something to keep in mind. 38% fire chance with 12 guns at low tier, where the fire resistance is much lower. That's going to be a whole lot of fires. This might be a really nasty HE spammer, actually. It might be a superbly nasty HE spammer. This might be a big limiting factor, though. Fuso has 28-second reload. But then again, doesn't like New Mexico have, what, 35-second, 34-second reload? So this isn't really, compared to the New Mexico, this isn't that bad. I think New Mexico, Arizona both had something like that. I don't know. Remains to be seen. It has no superstructure. That's one of the things it has hugely above New Mexico and Arizona. Is like the New Mexico, Arizona are literally this fat American blob. Okay, that sounded so wrong, but they have so much superstructure to spam. They have so much superstructure to spam, whereas this thing is nothing. Just like the smaller designs, there's nothing to hit here. So it's gonna come down to what kind of citadel are we dealing with. And what kind of armor are we dealing with on the rest of the ship. If it's very resistant to HE and it doesn't have that much of a citadel, it can become an absolute monster. Tier 7. Sinop Tier 7. Like these designs, they look so weird. This thing at least has 2 turrets in the front, but look at the nose on these things. These things have, like, this design. This thing has superstructure. This is like, it looks like a Nelson, except someone took one of the turrets here and put it in the back instead. That's what it reminds me of. Kinda weird. Kinda weird. 65k health. That's a fair chunk of health. 25mm plating as expected. 3x3 406mm. That's overmatch heaven. That's overmatch heaven. You overmatch tier 8 and tier 9 cruisers with that. Hell, you overmatch tier 10 noses with that as well. But considering what you're going to be up against, battleships of your own tier 25mm, you overmatch that easily as well. Like those are scary guns. AP damage is so high again. Chance to cause fire, very high again. It looks like these have very heavy HE damage, fire chance, and AP damage. But it looks like the reload is very slow. The turret traverse is insane though. What the hell? That's an insane turret traverse. That's a cruiser turret traverse. 30 seconds on 180 degree. That's literally cruiser turret traverse. That's insane. Turning so whoa. Well, we have this. We have slight increases in AP speed. I mean shell velocity speed, and we got some decent speed. But whoa. The rudder shift is good, but that's a tier 10 turning circle. That's literally a tier 10 turning circle. Holy shit. Well, it's gonna come down to what kind of citadel are we dealing with. That's what it's gonna come down, because holy moly. Surface detectability 15. You can't get it down that much because you can't slot the tier 8 module yet. Damage control, repair, and only now do we get a fighter. I haven't seen any spotter planes on any of these. I'm wondering if these fighters are interchangeable or are they completely lacking spotter plane, because the ranges, well, 17 at 6 isn't that bad, 17.8 at 7, it starts to becoming maybe an issue, especially with the concealment. All stats are listed without crew and upgrade modifiers, but with the best available modules. The stats are subject to change during testing. Fair enough. Let's see, what else did we have? We had the Soviet battleships tier 8 to 10 as well. Let's see. Hello? There we go. We can take chat can come back, that's okay. Please note that the information in the development blog is preliminary. Vladivostok, Tier 8. Look at the amount of nose on these things. That's so much free real estate. That is so much free real estate. Like, holy shit, that's a lot of open area. It looks like so much basically wasted area. That's what I feel like I'm looking at it. I don't know. Looks weird. Russia had so much steel for that nose. Expert out. Hit points 73,600. That's really good for tier 8. Plating 32 as expected. Main battery 3x3 406, 19 km range. Once again, great AG damage, great fire chance, and great AP damage. And once again, slow reload, super fast turrets. The dispersion is of course remains to be seen. The 1.7 Sigma wasn't too bad at lower tiers, but now that we're starting to get into higher tiers, 1.7 starts to become pretty lacking. Considering that, well, Alabama has 1.8, I think. NC has what, 2.0? So 1.7 Sigma is starting to fall off. Speed is still good. Turning circle, gigantic again. Absolutely gigantic. Rudder shift decent. Surface detectability. 15.5 isn't nearly as bad as the 15 at tier 7 because now you can slot the tier 8 concealment module. AA defense. These can do some duck. But then again, fighter radar. Yeah. I think we should quickly jump and cover this thing real fast. So this thing is something I think we need to cover. Makikos, thank you for the 2 months. This is something we should cover.
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that?
A new radar for tier 8 and tier 10. Tier 8, tier 9, tier 10 battleships, and targets that can be detected battleships and aircraft carriers. Range 15 kilometers. Number of charges 3 with the premium. You run superintendent on battleships anyway, so you're gonna have 4. Reload time 3 minutes, but this duration as well. 60 seconds. I wonder if you can slot the module as well to increase the duration. But I mean, if a cyclone hits us, the radar will help Soviet battleships to detect heavy enemy ships, battleships, and aircraft carriers behind islands in smoke or in a cyclone. A cyclone, like, this thing is gonna be so insane in a cyclone. That's gonna be 3 shots you're gonna get off. You're absolutely gonna get off 3 shots in the radar. Or in a cyclone. And on any maps that have a lot of islands, it's also gonna be valuable, and any sort of concealment builds that you deal with, it's gonna counter them. Like, it's gonna be so good against any sort of concealment builds from enemy battleships. It's kind of gimmicky though, because ultimately it only really works against battleships. So it's gonna be questionable, and I expect to see a lot of tunnel vision where they radar BB and then they try to rush him, and then they ignore the fact that there's a DD or something on the way which doesn't get spotted by the radar. Like, literally deep water radar. It's weird. It is weird. Anyway. Let's move on. So this one can fighter or radar. Again, nothing about the spotter plane. Tier 9, Sovietsky Soyuz. I have no idea how to pronounce that. Once again, look at this nose. Look at all this nose. They, like, damn, these ships are gonna be massive, aren't they? They're gonna be so massive and so much HE spammed, I think. Because if usually when the noses are 32 millimeters, it covers the entire thing. But then again, we don't know. Stalingrad got 50 millimeter plating all over the place, so it might be the same thing with the battleships. It would be weird to see the battleships being squishier than the so-called cruisers. I don't know. Health pool 88k. That is massive. Wait, doesn't, like, Iowa is 79k. Friede de Grosse is 84. 88 is gigantic. I think the only thing that has more health is, like, what, Musashi? That's a lot of the goddamn health. 3x3, same guns. 19.4 km range. pretty okay. HE damage, fire chance is good, AP damage is good. Still the reload, but at tier 9 you can of course slot the module, so you're going to be able to get that down to what, 28-ish seconds with the 3 million module. Turret traverse is again absurd, completely absurd for a battleship. Those massive turrets turning in 30 seconds, that is cruiser turret traverse time. Big buff to HE and AP shell velocity. We go from those 760s to 830s. Sigma once again 1.7 only. Remains to be seen how they're gonna tweak the dispersion and Sigma, because those are of course easy values to change. 28 knots of speed. That's no longer that fast. At these tiers, that's no longer that fast. Now it's starting to actually become weirdly slow for the Soviet. Gigantic turning circle still. Rudder shift time goes down a bit. Surface detectability keeps going up. Air detectability keeps going up. But at least unless they're changing the air spotting, any air detectability above 11 kilometers doesn't matter, because planes can only see 11 kilometers away. So that's like their rendering range. But with the CV rework, I don't know how that is changing. That might change. Remains to be seen as well. Some AA. No more 100mm guns. Looks like a lot of mid. Oh wait, never mind. Holy shit. This is a weird order. Why are these up here instead of down here? This is a strange order. 130mm AA. Huh. Damage control, repair party, fighter radar, and this weird ass radar. Kremlin. Tier 10. Look at that nose! Look at the nose on this thing. So this is the super Stalingrad, I guess. It's probably gonna have worse guns than the Stalingrad anyway, because Stalingrad is so dumb. The guns are so dumb. That's gonna be interesting. Hit points 108,300. That is literally more than what the Grosse Kurfürst has. That is more health than the Grosse Kurfürst has. Main battery 3x3 457mm. Now this is a very important number, because in order to match 32mm of armor you need exactly 458mm guns, and these are 457. So these are 1mm or 0.4mm too small to actually be able to match this armor. So no match on 32s like Yamato has. 1mm short. Firing range 20.7, very limited again, surprisingly limited, especially considering the gun caliber. HE damage insane, fire damage insane, AP shell damage absolutely the highest in the game. That's an insane citadel damage. 2 citadels is 31k raw damage. That is brutal. This is HE though. This is like Royal Navy levels of HE. Reload is brutal though. 34-second reload. That is absolutely brutal. That is very slow. That is very slow. 180-degree turn time is again insane. How do you turn these 457mm turrets in 30 seconds? I don't know what kind of hidden Cold War technology these goddamn ships had when they're able to turn that kind of tonnage that fast, but that is still insane. You need vodka. I guess you need a lot of vodka. HE initial shell velocity 800, AP initial 800. Don't you lose actually? Yeah, there's a lot of shifting here. You go from 760 to 790 to 830 to 800. So you're gonna have to adjust for the guns at every tier. Sigma 1.7. Now at this point, that's starting to become pretty goddamn shit. That's straight up starting to become pretty shit. That's very easy for Wargaming to tweak though. That's a value that's so easy for them to tweak. But that's starting to become a very questionable Sigma, especially with only a 9-gun setup. Yamato has a 9-gun setup and Yamato has 2.1 Sigma. So we'll see. We'll see how they tweak that. I mean, it's very easy for them to change that. Maximum speed, 30 knots is fine. Turning circle, fucking gigantic. Rudder shift time, massive. Oh, it's bad. It's actually not as bad as some of the others. Surface detectability, pretty horrendous as well. Detectability after firing, 18.1. So clumsy, huge, massive health. You know, what's going to tell us a lot right now is what kind of armor plating is it going to have and what kind of citadel is it going to have. Because the health pool is massive, but the concealment will be garbage. So there's going to be a lot of A lot of spam on it. Stealth radar? Yeah, but it's only really gonna stealth radar other battleships. Since it's got that weird ass radar that doesn't make too much sense. Lenin, tier 8. Okay, that's a Nelson. How are you doing, Mr. Nelson? How's the weather? Literally a Russian Nelson. Isn't that exactly what it is? Hit points 63.2k, plating 32, main battery 3x3, 18.4. Huge shit HE and AP, slow reload. This insane turret traverse again. Oh my god. On this kind of ship, being able to turn in 30 seconds these guns means that you're going to be able to like shift nose back and forth and keep your guns on the target all the time because they turn so quickly. Not even repainted. Fairly slow, Sigma 1.7, maximum speed, turning circle, rudder shift, surface detectability, pretty garbage. Is it going to be the same huge broadside? Yeah. This looks interesting. And they're all gonna have this radar. Once again, nothing about spotter plane, only fighter. I wonder if they can even slot a... If they can't slot a spotter plane, then they're gonna be they're gonna kind of suffer against smoked up cruisers, because spotter plane makes it so much easier to blind fire them. You can turn 180 degrees before the reload is done. You actually can! That is quite the meme. 33 seconds. Isn't it the same thing on this one? Yeah, you can actually turn your guns completely around before the reload is done. What the hell kind of technology did they have to turn these turrets? That is actually absurd. Goddamn. So that's Lenin. And this is Kremlin. Tier 10 super battleship. Well, we'll see. Lack of overmatch, massive HE though. No concealment like the Conqueror though. So it's kind of like some bastard child of the Yamato and the Conqueror. That's what it looks like. We'll see. We shall see what we get. Weird